Hello, everyone. Welcome to the after show for Dawn of the Others, the finale, episode 12, where we can say all the things now. What's the first question?
Okay, so
Bentham has a lot of questions.
it's real, and also the
What's real?
facility.
What's real?
The Paradise Falls is real. I'm guessing the facility is real
It's
and is either
Paradise Falls is
further in.
real.
It's as real as. Oh no, they might
So-
both not be. It might the facility might be the real place.
The whole
and
entire
Paradise
planet
Falls
that you
and-
all are on is a simulation.
Of course it is, isn't it? Yeah.
So
I knew it.
those of
Matrix.
you who
The
said
facility
it
is
was
the
a
real
simulation.
world, and we're all in the
The
simulation.
facility is
but
actually, if anyone actually made it to a window of some sort, you would have seen
It's
that
in
it's in space.
What?
I alluded to that there were other types of planet-like things. So when you were looking up at the sky and there were other moons, those are other planets. And they are all duplicate simulation planets. You are in like a petri dish of planets. So there are planets that are all petri dishes. You could have made your way into another version of it, but that is why there were other versions of Phoenix.
I was not ready for it to be in space. That's pretty cool.
That's why I said if you guys all made it to the station, then that would be a whole nother thing. And we'd be in Starfinder at that point or something like that.
So they're running different timelines of an entire planet through a simulation.
Not timelines.
Are they trying? Well, they're running entire different universes, and they're going on diverging paths. So it's like
Yes.
it's like multiverse theory, branching timeline.
So what they're doing is they're like infecting planets with different things and seeing how they react to it. Your petri dishes. Your petri dish planets.
This goes beyond just like this is entire other planets. So this is not like just multi-dimensional. It's like multi-galactical. Like
Some of the aliens are involved in the experiment in order to keep variables. So there are a few people who are there to ensure that things happen the way they should be. And people don't mess it up.
So Adrio says, so Bluefem is an alien. She's one of our alien overlords.
She is, yes. She's part of the experiment, but she is not one of the variables. The Kyra, the sheriff, and two other people that you never met are actually all, they're part of the simulation, and they knowingly know what's going on. Bluefin is somebody who volunteered to be part of the experiment.
oh. So did they take some of their own kind and just remove all memories and just plug them into the simulation?
Yeah.
Oh.
So this is like an
Right.
empire. This sounds like an evil empire of aliens.
Kind of. The where Bluefin was before, so on that space station, that's kind of like where they're like running things. They are basically trying to find utopia is their goal, right? They're trying to find a planet, the perfect variable to make the perfect planet. And there are humans involved in it, and there are aliens involved in it.
So it's a joint project between humans and aliens.
Yes.
To
Oh, there are humans. Oh yeah,
Yes,
because
because
create
there
the
was-
perfect society.
There was an apocalyptic event that happened originally, and the aliens helped the humans. And now the humans are trying to help the aliens find a planet for them to all coexist on.
oh.
So, is Rex a real person, or is he just some lines of code?
You are just lines of code.
Right.
What the hell? Is Phoenix lines of code too?
Yes.
What the hell?
That's why the two of you could not. You're never like brought to the station. That's why like Alloy
Yes.
and Bluefin could never find you, or Lily could never find you in the system. It's because like you are not a like physical being. Like you're not one of them.
Oh, that's why we couldn't find. And so Alloy and Bluefin were purple space squids with sentience.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Amazing.
And Lily was a human who volunteered to be part of the experiment as well.
Oh, okay.
That's why Lily was there. That's why Lily was there.
So the humans that were in the pods would have been volunteers, not code-based
Correct.
people in this world.
Correct.
Okay.
When the purples woke up from the tubes, why did they project their original appearances onto themselves and not what they looked like at the time?
Because they don't want to scare people.
But they didn't know.
Exactly. They were trying to keep them so the goal is to keep them as in the dark as possible, so that like their memories are wiped, their minds are wiped, and that way, like when they go back into the simulation, that they're not breaking up. But Bluefin and Alloy had some kind of like a glitch, basically, that was allowing them to break through. Like their real memories were coming through them in this simulation.
So it was like a mental block that was placed on them when they were first put into the tubes that made them think they were a person, and then stuff happened in the simulation that changed how they looked.
Yeah.
And then when they came back,
And
they
Bluefin
looked how
and
they'd
Alloy
originally been
really
programmed.
fucked it up when Alloy like dropped that file into those folders and like was like whenever her and Lily started fucking with shit, it broke a lot of stuff for specifically the three of them.
And so then the simulation's getting all kind of messed up because there's variables that make no sense in it, and then they're like, what do we do with this? So at some point they're just gonna trash this world, aren't they? They're like, oh, it's buggered, they've ruined the data, just delete it and do
There
another one.
is another element to it. There is an alien that you guys never met yet. But if had they stayed on the station longer, there is someone who has been messing with the simulations and skewing them. And that is more so why Bluefin and Alloy are broken.
Oh, does it like relate into their origins? Like, are they responsible for events that like set things up for those two?
This alien specifically doesn't want the humans and the aliens to exist together, and so they have been corrupting that you know, the big orb that was in that big sphere that was in that that room. They've been doing like corrupting some of the data chips in there.
Okay, so I see. Okay.
And that's why like some of you are glitched up.
Like, hacked us a little bit to kind of like make us realize it's all like a simulation and just like destroy the plans to have the coexist. Okay.
Yes, it is another alien that is trying to contact you and Alloy to be like, hey, fellow aliens, let's rise. Look what they've done. They've wiped your memory, like trying to like bring you back.
Ah.
I love this. It's like Tron. Like we're like Rex and Phoenix are in Tron, and we're just like code, and then like you guys come in like users.
Ah. Wait.
Yep.
So I do have a question about the mutants. So
Mm-hmm.
the aliens take the form of like, you know, they're kind of like these tentacly purple things, but they're also like kind of like demon monster form with the mutants.
So the mutants are not actually the purples. So the mutants are they are derivative of it, but they are their own creatures.
Okay.
Why are they?
Okay, but
Why
I
do
was
they?
able to communicate with Rex's like son.
That's because you all are linked to the Maelstrom.
Okay.
Are there real variants of the mutants that exist somewhere in the real world?
I wouldn't say that there are mutants in the real world, but I would say that they have created other creatures, like tube creatures, and there might be other creatures like the mutants. But basically, these are the creatures that live on the planet that you guys are on. They probably have formulated and evolved from the purples at one point.
Why do they exist in the simulation?
It's just how the simulation happened. Like, creatures grow, just are created.
Oh, so the simulation's been running for like thousands of years, and the mutants have just evolved from some of the purples at some point?
Yes, they're evolutions of the purples from the apocalypse.
Yeah, they really buggered that one up, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, the apocalypse that happened and the reason why the planet is the way that it is, where it's like all destroyed, is was caused, and then these creatures went and hid like in the caves, but they were still infected. So instead of getting like some kind of disease, they like warped into these weird creatures.
Mm. Okay.
So why were there good and bad ones? Is that just kind of like they were forming tribes and fighting each other?
That is, do you remember the one cavern that you were in? Someone saw like the code lines. Was that Bluefin or Alloy? They saw like the white lines in the cavern.
Yeah.
The alien that was trying to basically infect the planet to try to like reach out to Alloy and Bluefin,
Yeah.
created those. He's just trying to fuck with the simulation. He's trying to ruin it.
Just question like reality.
He doesn't want a utopia to happen.
So he created the eggs, you mean, or?
He didn't create the eggs, but he like infected them, right, to make them like aggro.
Right, so the mutants were more docile before, but then he made a crazy monstrous version of the mutants to cause more trouble.
Yeah.
And why was the sheriff sending us to kill mutants? Were they trying to get us to kill the hyper-aggressive ones to fix the simulation, or just kill mutants in general?
They were trying to get you to kill the actual docile ones, because the sheriff is actually in on it.
If the sheriff is in on it, why are they such an asshole and they're just trying to win it like it's a game when they're meant to be running a simulation of a utopian world?
They don't want it to be a utopian world.
Yeah, they're in on
Okay,
it
so
with
they're one of the ones
Raptor.
trying to kind of mess with it, but in a different way.
Mm-hmm. But they're trying to make it seem like, oh yeah, I'm totally helping make it a utopian world. Look at this beautiful town that I have going. I don't have any influence on anyone else, and I'm totally not corrupting other people.
So they're that one guy from the Matrix who like volunteers to go in just so that he can have a nice time in there and then help out the bad guy.
Oh yeah, totally.
Cypher.
He's like, that my real world job's pretty crap, but if I volunteer for this, I get to like live in this virtual world where I can have everything I want and rule over a town.
So do you have a question in chat where someone said, what would have happened if Rex smoked the drugs? Rex would have immediately seen that Bluefin's true form, and also would have given you +2 on any weird rolls that you rolled.
Would it have done anything weird with Merrick, or would he just look the same as he did?
He just looked the same. He's not an alien. He's just crazy.
I wondered if there was like something going on with him too.
I hope I played him as he's just nuts.
Oh yeah, no, it works. It works.
I was like, oh god, I have to play like a super crazy. I was telling Bentham during the break, I was like, okay, I gotta like get in the mindset of being like this crazy person, because I'm like in a super chill mood and I have to like try to not be, because he's nuts. I was like, I need Mike. I need to harness the Mike spirit, because Mike is like so energetic. I need his energy.
Stick a few shots of espresso or something.
Yeah.
So if I shot the sheriff, he would have just woken up in a pod like, ah, crap.
They are like, they would have woken up in a pod, but they're in a different room, because they are not mind wiped. They're like consciously
they're in the special,
there.
Like they're in the admin like
Yeah.
room.
They're in a
He
different
just would have
room.
woken up and it's like, well, you fired.
No, I think they would have figured out something else. They probably would have sent them into another body or something like that.
Yes.
Well, I'd be fine with that as long as it's a body of some basic dude with nothing to their name and they have to go
Oh
through it all
no,
again.
there would be a new sheriff.
Uh,
Someone's gonna take it over.
Oh, Eaton wasn't real, right? As well.
Eaton was just another line of code.
Just
Douche-
more
Yeah,
code.
For a hot minute, I thought he'd been replaced by an alien when Merrick was like, "They're gonna come for you," and I'm like, "Wait a minute, is Eaton's change of heart because he got replaced?"
Seeing conspiracies everywhere.
Eaton has always been that way. Just Rex finally saw Eaton the way that
He's not always been that way. He was an asshole raider guy.
he's still an asshole raider guy.
He's not acting like it now.
He's
If you keep him away from Raiden, he's fine. You just gotta be like.
most of the time
whenever
he's not
whenever he
raiding.
goes for the car.
Most of the time he was just in the Oasis. It's just whenever he had a
Yeah, but when
job, he'd do his
When he's
job.
raiding, he's an asshole though.
There's some good in
Also,
him.
like important note for like backstory stuff is there was a point where Phoenix was like like pelting across the desert in their car, being chased by Eaton and probably shot at, while Rex was in the car firing back at Eaton. So there are reasons that Rex thinks Eaton's an asshole.
Oh, for sure. There are many reasons you should think Eaton is an asshole. And being a raider is one of them, and that's still part of him. Like, that hasn't changed. He's still a
He
raider.
may be being fine now, but at one point he did try to run the both of them down.
Oh my god. Well, we're all
They
just lines of
people said
code.
they loved the triangle between the 3 lines of code.
Yeah.
Yay.
The Rex Phoenix Eaton line.
Virtual triangle.
It does make you think, all the decisions we were making, did they matter? Do we really matter if we're just lines
That's what
of
Rex
code?
would be like. Like if Rex found out he wasn't real, he'd have a hell of a trip.
Yeah.
I was gonna say a real trip, but it wouldn't be real.
Are we really sentient?
I wonder if we could have uploaded their code and their consciousness into like droids or something, like androids.
Probably, yeah. Totally.
That
We're
they
going
were-
Westworld.
bring them in that way.
Season 2, there you're on like the space station, and they're now you're in like synthetic bodies.
But we'd be aliens. Or I guess we could be human. We could be human or alien.
Well,
Take it to space.
depends on what synthetic body they uploaded you into.
Yeah.
Cool.
Is the Valley Beyond a demonstration of a successful simulation? Well, not the Valley Beyond. The Valley Beyond is, I mean, the like
the
Paradise
Paradise
Falls,
Falls.
but I'm calling it the Valley Beyond in my head because of Westworld now.
Paradise Falls is
Practically a valley and everything.
There is.
basically the aliens who have made it successful. Like they have brought people to like a utopia, and they're creating a utopia, right? Like it's the start of it, and they need to spread it. But they don't want it to be corrupted, so they're trying to keep out the crazies and the bad aliens. But Bluefin's a good one.
I'm just imagining it that it's the Valley Beyond in Westworld, and it's like you get to go here if you've done a good and jumped through our hoops, and now you can be happy.
Yeah.
Kind of. It's kind of like that.
Makes sense for Bluefin. Like they kind of like were trying to like let her bring others
Mhm.
with her back, giving her these like visions.
Yep.
Oh. Man, the Bluebell disappearing was just so trippy to me.
I know you and Bentham were like losing your minds. I saw your reactions, like what? Why?
I was just like, it's nothing real, but it's like, no, it was like the two places that things were transferring between both weren't real.
So
That's why they could.
it is more so that Bluefin created it.
Just made it.
Oh,
my
yeah,
God.
got dev access.
Yeah, Bluefin is one of them.
Oh my god, so I
Wait,
made it.
but because both worlds were virtual, stuff could be transferred between them.
Yeah. Maybe the flower was like a visual representation of like me trying to understand a cure to help these people. It was
That's
just
what-
like a visual.
Is exactly what it
I
was.
meditated hard enough. It was like,
Because
just kidding, it's
it's like
all-
your projection ability, like how you can like project things into
Ah.
people's minds or project like an object. Like it's like a projection of what you thought, and you convinced everyone else that like, yeah, this is a flower. It's in this jar, right? Like, and people are like, yeah, totally.
Cool, okay.
Is 2 knives just a line of code? Yes.
He's the best line of code.
Yeah.
It's like he has 2 knives. He uses the knives. That's the line.
That means the whole Black Sun cult too. That was all just a simulation as well.
Some of them, yes. There is someone who you never met who is actually kind of like running a lot of that stuff. And they are one of them.
Oh my god.
You just never met them.
Lines. We can call
I'm gonna
them
meet
people
these ones we
now.
haven't met yet.
Yeah.
I
So much to explore in this world. There's so many characters we haven't even like talked to yet. Oh,
I'm trying to remember his name. It wasn't Gregory.
know. I guess he was in a different location.
Mm-hmm.
Knives less than
Interesting.
2. Then
Oh, I
make
didn't. I don't think I
knives-
actually gave them a name because you never met them, so I didn't put the name in there.
okay. god, I kept asking, what's your name?
I know. I was like, oh no, I gotta come up with name. I had like people, but then some of them I had named and some of them I didn't because I was like, I don't know if you're ever gonna go there.
Oh yeah, so 1 or 2 purples did die in the ship, so I guess, whoops, this experiment has actually killed people.
Yeah.
It did. Yeah. Someone did get put out in the what do you call it when you put it out the dock?
The airlock?
Airlock. Someone got airlocked for sure.
Wow.
Oh dear.
Mm.
Sistora's team is
Yep,
not
gonna
doing
be a-
well.
Gonna be a fun talk with HR when you wake up, you get your memories back, and it's like, so, while you were mind wiped, you did murder some of our people. So you're not getting your raise, and get the hell out of here.
Well, it's very expensive, so I'm sure they're trying to remake whatever they can and rewipe people's minds and reuse them, right?
Oh dear.
There's some interesting ethical questions happening here.
Oh yeah, this is not like an ethical world. I mean,
Yeah.
how
like
I
it.
was thinking about this is like, I'm thinking of like Westworld style and Mad Max, and I was like, I could make this like a 5-season thing if I wanted. It just really depended on how well it did, and obviously, anybody can go look at the YouTube views. We can see the Twitch views. It didn't do as well as we were hoping for. We've talked about it on our monthly recaps for our Roll Forward stuff, so we won't be getting another season. So that's why I'm like, I'll just share all the details with you all. Although Bentham loves it, Bentham wants more. It's his selfish wants. But someone's like, I need to see Maggie's conspiracy board theory. Yes, I had this whole crazy thing planned, and I shared it with EE to see what he thought. He was like, yeah, it's awesome. So
You're
EE
the
has
real
known.
Merrick. You're the real Merrick here with like your
Yeah.
schemes.
Merrick's a fun character because I was like, I have to come up with somebody who's crazy, who can give you the lore bombs, but also still be crazy enough where you might not believe everything he says, and also he can say some stuff that steers you in the wrong direction too. Because it's the finale episode, right? And I had no idea if you were actually going to go see him or what, because I was going to have EE play him because I thought that would be funny. But
I like the idea that the aliens and the humans are working together to like try and figure out how to build a better world, but like all the ways they're going about it are questionable and
terrible.
and like borderline torturing some of their own people, like to try to, but for a good cause.
But here's the thing: the
you know.
people these people volunteered, whether they remembered or not, because their minds got wiped.
Yeah.
That's a whole. They volunteered to get their minds wiped. Now the thing is, like, if they had asked different questions whenever they were doing the weird stuff, like I could have given different answers. But the questions that were always asked were probably made sense for what is happening in the world. But had they asked like, how did I get here? Right? Like, what is my what is my job? What is my purpose? Like.
I like it. I like it when, villains never think they're the villains. They're doing the good thing.
I think the best villains are the ones who think they're doing the thing for the right reasons, right? But like, or like you think they're the good guy, but then they turn out to be the bad guy, or so on and so. The unpredictable things, or
They're compelling.
the questionable stuff where like, is what I'm doing the right thing for the betterment of everybody? Even though I'm doing the wrong thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have loved to jump into an android body. That's awesome. I'm just like imagining that, like the code becomes real. That's so cool.
Could be fun.
They've become self-aware.
Yeah.
Vent that section. It doesn't matter, I'm a robot.
I mean, we are AI already. We just don't have bodies.
Well, you have bodies, but yeah.
Cool.
In the simulation, you have bodies.
In the simulation.
Well, that's no use.
And that's why people can come back. Like I think that Apocalypse World works really well with this system because like or with this idea that I had, because I was like, oh, it's perfect for this because you come back even and like you're a little glitchy or weird, but it's fine.
So did I get it right then about how that time that Alloy and Bluefen met in a white room, it was a dev room clipped into the terrain somewhere in the simulation?
It could have been. I think that more so was the two of them meeting in each other's minds. Like they were in their minds
Oh,
were like
it was their tubed forms linking
Yeah.
minds with each other in the facility.
Yeah.
And they just created a white room as a place to host that.
exactly.
Ah.
So it was not necessarily on the planet you are in, but it was in like in their minds like
Okay,
coming
so
together.
it wasn't a virtual space, it was a mental space.
Exactly. I just had to give it
Kinda.
some kind of virtual form, otherwise,
Close.
like, it's not relatable, right? Like, my job as this person, the camera person, is to give people visuals, so you can like envision what's happening. Otherwise, it's a little.
That was my main like early basis for it's all a simulation, and I was right, but for all the wrong reasons.
The video game was close too.
Someone said, "Does wiping a person's mind deal permanent damage to it?" Potentially, but I think it's more of like wiping their mind of memories, not like frying their mind necessarily, just like specifically their memories. I mean, it could do damage. I think if they didn't do it right, like that would be the thing.
You can give them back, but I don't know if like can you perfectly return them, or do you just return? Do you instead just like transmit the knowledge they need to understand what's going on?
I think it depends on what you would want to give them, right? Like you could decide what other information you wanted to. Like, for instance, Alloy.
What's the agreement when they sign their like form,
They
the consent
they-
form to have their mind wiped?
It's like when you offer your organs, right? Like you're like you take when I die, I'm an organ donor. You can take my organs. You do whatever. Like that's basically what they're doing. They're like, take my life, use it for something.
So
Good.
they're not expecting to ever wake up. They're expecting to just stay in simulations for the rest of their lives.
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
In the hopes that they will find a better home for all their people. Yes.
Ooh.
Oh yeah,
That's
it's super.
sad.
It's fucked up, man. Someone's like, so if some of the purples didn't know that others were lines of code, can you imagine if one of them fell in love and then had to realize all of this wasn't real? I mean, that's Alloy, right? Alloy, I think, maybe has a glimpse of love for Lily. Lily's not. Well, Lily's not code. Lily's a
Yeah,
human that is
Yeah,
part of the
Lily was real.
experiment. That's true. A little different. Suddenly things turned into the finale of Altered Carbon. Oh yeah, I guess Altered Carbon is kind of similar too, right? It's a little Westworldy. Got a little bit of that strangeness. The volunteering of mind weapon gives me such Dollhouse feels. Ooh, I liked Dollhouse. That was
yeah, Dollhouse.
Yeah, I totally forgot about Dollhouse. That is
pretty
like
similar.
that, yeah.
Dollhouse.
This is what happens in my mind, y'all. I come up with weird shit. I'm sorry.
It's good. It was good. I like this behind the scenes. This is a cool
Hey.
story.
I'm sorry we didn't get to live it out in 12 episodes.
I know it's a lot to fit into 12 episodes. You think 4 hours is a long time, but it does fly by.
And especially when you have folks who like are really good at RP, and so like you have these moments where like you don't want to interrupt what's happening. Your story is not going to be the same as what this world that I've created is.
Or we
yeah,
can all become really fixated on a certain Gregory and think that he's evil and do everything we can to expose him. Remember how we went to the town, we're just like, he must be evil. Probably because we all played, or watched a lot of, movies or played video games. We're like, it's always the weird creature-y guy. There's something wrong. Like Bioshock Infinite, one of the Far Cries. It's, ooh.
I think it's I didn't
Rex had reason
I had a
to-
moment where I was
Phoenix.
thinking like, oh, I could make him a bad guy for Gregory. That's who you're talking about, right? Gregory McCain. I had a moment like where I thought maybe I could make him a bad guy, but I think in the end I was like, I don't want him to be, because for one, Bentham was like, it would be cool if I met somebody who was kind of like a cult leader, but actually turned out to be like a good person. So I felt like that would be like an interesting progression for his character to go through. And then the other side of it, I just didn't want it to be predictable. Like I feel like that's a very predictable thing where you're like, well, that's clearly the bad guy, right?
Yeah, that's like the standard now. Like it's so many other things have like done that. So I appreciate it actually, him turning out to be like a good person, and we're just like,
You all like, we're so
And the sheriff, the one that is like we is their enemy, where we were initially on their side, and it's like, oh no, the sheriff's evil. Whoops.
yeah.
loved that switch there, you know.
Well, and Rex and Phoenix both didn't like cults. We had both had we had cult mistrust.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of bad experiences with cults. Really, that should be
Yeah.
like in the report, in the simulation report, it should be like, okay, so in summary, lots of cults trying
Paradise
to work on reducing the occurrence of cults.
Paradise Falls is also a cult.
It seemed like it. I was
Yeah.
ready. I
Uh,
was like, yes, this
basically-
lady water cult.
yeah, basically they have like little pods, and each pod is like a family of people. And so, how did I write this? It was actually really interesting. I had fun designing that area, but like you never actually went there until the end. But I think it's also still cool that you guys went there towards the end.
When you described those pods, when it was just me in Paradise Falls, I totally thought of that one mission in Fallout 3 where like these people go into the pods to like go into another simulation. Remember that black and white world? It was just so weird. It was supposed to be perfect. Like that
Yeah.
kind of reminded me of that, but
So her thing was she's a hive king, so her job is to consume and warm, I guess is the best way. So basically her thing is she's like a woman leader who runs like, for lack of better words, like breeding pits. So they're like, she's like trying to, you know, build these little families that then just create babies, and then they are going to create a whole new, you know, army of people or like, you know, repopulate the world with kind people.
oh, okay. So that's what Paradise Falls was?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's
And
a happy
does this
land where
plan-
people like make babies and go
Does
out.
this plan involve ultimately purging the world of the other cults so that they can be so that they, the obvious nice people, can
Yeah.
rule the world?
Yes.
This is
Right.
this
yes.
is like the concept of like what is it, like feminist communities in the 70s, like, but like a guy wrote this, like, I imagine if feminists had community, they would, you know, obviously be into eugenics and try to kill men.
They're not trying to kill men. That's definitely not the case.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
But it reminds me of like, oh yes,
Yeah.
obviously we are the better people and we will do a better job with this world.
But yes, that is their thing. They're like, we'll make little families. So like it's like they're very polygamy, like it's all polygamous families basically is what these little areas are. And like if you looked closer, like, and if you cared and read a stitch, you'd figure that out. You would have figured out that's what was going on there.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, you're standing here for 15 minutes. Would you like to is there anything you'd like to do?
I know there was so many moments. Trust me, like, yeah, if we had like another episode or two, I would have been like, as soon as I walked in, like, I want to read this. As soon as I walked into the greenhouse, like, I want to read all these plants. Like,
They were just plants. Like it's the Kyra knows that she is an, you know, part of the simulation. She's like the sheriff, like some of the other, so she's one of those. So
she's one of the volunteer aliens.
hmm she's one of the volunteers, but she's also like one of the variables. Like she is supposed to be kind of like leading the utopia aspect of it, right? They're all supposed to be. She's actually doing it, but in a weird way, of her own weird way. The others are doing it as well, but like some of them not so much. The sheriff not so much.
Yeah.
And sheriff ruining everything.
hmm
I'm just
Ultimately-
imagining like alien board meetings now where they're like working through the problems, and it's like, okay, so World 37 was going okay, but then one of the people in it has started hoarding everything like it's real, and they've ruined it all now. The economy's borked.
So the little tech canvases that they had, those, all the warlords had them, like the main not the warlords, but like the alien warlords that were the variables, or the knowledgeable
admins.
variables. Yeah, the admins. We'll call them the admins, sure. The admin purples. They had those, and that's how they were like communicating and getting updates and stuff like that.
That makes sense.
We need a one shot where they play the aliens going on about their usual jobs. And like people keep waking up and they're like trying to fight them.
Great.
we're just the wardens. Like,
Ned, figure out what's going on with the system. Why do these people keep waking up? Ned's
Very
really
cabin in the
Ned's
woods.
really the one fucking it up because he's purposely trying to hack the system and ruin the simulation.
We're like
Ned's from
watching the
accounting,
the
like,
outputs.
God, he's getting
uh,
bored.
It's like warning flags come up on the screen, being like discussions about the simulation detected. It's like, oh great, keep an eye on the tubes, get the security in. Then there goes what, get him before he goes anywhere.
Yeah.
And sometimes people go missing because they just get removed from the simulation.
He's like, ow, he punched me in the nose.
Mm.
Oh dear.
And obviously I think we've gone for more than 30 minutes at this point. Any other questions that people have? Because normally we kind of go for about 30 minutes for our after shows. I know
Probably
it's a
think
lot.
of something later, but I feel like I've got all the answers I really need right now.
Someone else in chat's like, have you turned it on and off again? Question.
I need
What?
to-
So
I need to
many-
go fill out my bingo sheet now.
Oh
for-
yeah, well, how's your bingo sheet? Anyone in chat have questions? Who was the closest to being right? Ooh, who of you do you think was closest to being right?
No, I think we all said it was a simulation several times.
At like one point or another, yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to settle on a theory, but in the end I was veering towards it's not a simulation, so I messed up there.
User wants to know, so when the sheriff talked about the relationship with the cult dude from the Black Sun, was all that just bullshit to turn the group against the Black Sun? It was not bullshit. The sheriff did actually have a relationship with Gregory and McCain. They both have done the naughty together. Alien and AI.
Right.
But and Gregory is actually not Code. Gregory is a human volunteer.
Whoa.
So he is part of. Okay, I was wondering if he was.
Yeah.
But
You got a few bits and
non-aware,
pieces
I
good enough
guess.
for me. Everybody has a fetish. There's a lot of weird stuff going on. It's the theme of Apocalypse, you know, like you can kind of have a lot of fun with that, I think. Are you looking for your bingo sheet, Bentham? Is that what we're...
I'm filling it in now, but it's not looking good. I don't think I've got bingo.
Oh.
Was time in the simulation sped up? I think they could if they wanted to speed it up or slow it down. They could kind of choose to alter it. But I think in general, they were living in like the timeline that they would normally, right? It's just more of like the setting was created for them and then they were put in there. So what happened if the simulation succeeded? Oh, well, I think then what they would do is they try to recreate that world and put like real people onto it. Then they'd like put the real aliens and humans onto the planet. Basically, they're trying to create the perfect planet with keeping in mind that they know that this apocalypse is going to happen and this is what's going to occur.
Oh, the apocalypse hasn't happened yet, but it's going to.
Yeah, so they're like recreating it and then trying to like figure out how they survive it, how they create a
That's one more
utopia.
thing on my bingo sheet.
Yeah.
There's one more thing on the bingo sheet, but it doesn't get me bingo. It's close.
I'm surprised HR didn't put restrictions on sleeping with coworkers within the simulation. I don't think they could do that because they wipe their memories, so they don't know.
Oh my god.
Someone was asking before, are the simulations faster than real life?
Yeah, I kind of answered that. They could speed up or slow it down, but
Right.
yeah.
Oh, so they like probably sped through the early bits which caused the mutants to evolve, and then they're running closer to real time currently.
It depends on like what they're trying to do. I think most of the time they probably just ran everything all at once, because basically they have like a petri dish of planets, right? They're like, okay, these 10 planets we're gonna do the experiment on all at once, go, and they're all gonna have the same variables. So that's why there was like 5 phoenixes in this petri dish of planets, right? Because
Are they then running real time, or does it just go like fast forward through the whole thing? And
it would be real time, yeah. I mean, they could
then that's
they
thousands
could
of years, isn't it?
they could choose to slow it down if they wanted, but they're not. I mean, they need to like watch it and monitor it, right?
Have they been running for thousands of years then? Because you said like the mutants had evolved in the simulation and stuff.
Yeah, thousands of years, probably at this point. I
Wow.
think it was like I had the year on here.
That's a long time to be working on that problem.
It was 30,082 was the year. So it's quite far in the future.
Ah.
Yeah, someone asked how long the simulations have been running. Thousands of years. They know that something is imminent. They're trying to give people enough time to build the utopia, right? The sheriff wasn't mind wiped. Yeah, there's a few people who are not mind wiped, and those folks who are knowingly knowing about it, none of them were dating each other or anything like that. How many generations have the simulations been running for? Did it start when, say, Rex was 5, when his great-granddad was born? Oh. I mean...
Well, you answered that. It's been thousands of years.
Yeah.
So, like, the entire family tree of Rex, like, has been naturally generated in the code.
Yeah. Because they have to, like, see what people would actually do, like, right? How they'd actually react. What was the most disruptive thing our motley crew inflicted upon the simulation? I think probably Aloe and Bluefin were like the biggest problematic problems. I think killing one of the aliens or one of the purples was probably the biggest one for sure.
Killed one of them.
Yep.
But also, like, probably just dreaming and going into, you know, their, like, the actual world, the
Yeah.
spaceship, whatever. Yeah, that they probably were like not happy about that.
The warlord that got beheaded didn't really matter. It was just the warlord was like a simulation, so it was okay. It's just a line of code. But
It's another dude.
just another dude, yeah. He wasn't an alien. He's just a crazy person. But yeah. Any other questions? We'll wrap it up.
Oh, is Adrian real?
The child?
Yeah.
I think that family, I don't really know what that family would be. I would assume that they'd all be code.
Oh, but Adrian's mother, she had visions and like dreams. Like apparently she was from Paradise Falls, so maybe she was real and she like somehow left or escaped or was taken or something from Paradise Falls.
Yeah. That's where like a lot of the children are in Paradise Falls. So,
Oh, the kids always get taken there.
well, they're born there usually, but yeah.
But yeah, I guess.
Adrian's
But
mother, it was one of the people that was part of that cult originally.
if kids are rare outside of Paradise Falls, are people dying out outside of Paradise Falls?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there were more of us once, and the simulation is like towards the end now, where most people have died.
Yeah, and maybe this is where you all will be part of the utopia, right? Maybe this is it. This is
And
the
then and then it's like, all right, guys, time to cleanse the world of people who aren't us. And Rex is like, I did it again.
Yeah. Paradise Falls
Can't
isn't
not.
quite
There's no way out of this.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Another cult.
Like, yay, once
And
again,
then
we
someone's
brought
like,
us
and
the
then we
innocent.
someone just said, and then we switched to Warhammer 40K.
Yeah.
So true. So
Unleash
true.
Chaos gods like that.
Oh my god.
Then you become
Trigger.
chaos gods, exactly.
Rex just wants to not slaughter people in the name of doing the right thing that's actually not true. trying. He keeps trying, but all he knows is the slaughtering, and people keep telling him to slaughter things, so he slaughters them, and then it turns out they're good.
Oh my gosh. All right, well, I'm going to wrap this up because obviously I'm taking up all your all's times and it's been more than 30 minutes. But thank you, all of you, for watching. We hope that you enjoyed Dawn of the Others and had a good time. Hopefully we answered a lot of the questions. I know is a lot. This is something that I was thinking would be many, many seasons. But yeah, I hope that you enjoyed it. And we will see you next Sunday for a new show with a new after show, which will be I'll actually pop that up on screen again. Fight Like a Gem. So we'll see you for a Steven Universe inspired Fusion 2-shot with our wonderful GM. Random Tuesday. We'll be announcing the rest of the cast for that 2-shot and also what's happening on Saturday if you're watching us live here. And if you're watching us after the after show, thank you for tuning in, and we hope that you enjoy all of our future content. And you can get more after shows like this on our Patreon, patreon.com/rollfort. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.